Basketball, until the 1940s, was considered a sport that should be played by only shorter men. A man who was 6'10" and very athletic broke this stereotype and allowed for taller players to later begin dominating games in decades to follow. This man was George Mikan. While researching George Mikan's life, we can see how big of an impact he had on the development of modern basketball. The information I'll be providing to back up my points comes from a few different sources. Bruce J. Evanson wrote an article on Mikan for the American National Biography online organization. On the National Basketball Association's website, there is a full and detailed biography of George Mikan that proves useful. And on SPN, there is a full and complete article on Mikan's background. Throughout Mikan's life, he steadily changed the sport of basketball, and he slowly began modernizing the way the game was played. Throughout my presentation, I plan to discuss Mikan's early life, where he grew up in Joliet, Illinois. He tried to play basketball but was kicked off the team due to his glasses. He then went and tried to become a priest, but in this process, he got recruited by DePaul. He went and played basketball for DePaul and ended up going to play for the NBL. Later on, I'll cover his return to the league as a commissioner of the American Basketball Association, and finally, his long battle with diabetes that eventually took his life. When talking about George Mikan, we must first discuss his early childhood years, where he lived in Joliet, Illinois. Born on June 18, 1924, George Mikan grew up in the small town of Joliet, Illinois, where he lived with his parents, Joseph and Minnie Lindstrup, and his brother, Joe. Mikan enjoyed playing one-on-one basketball with his brother. When Mikan was 12 years old, he injured his eye during his whittling. This caused his eyesight to become weak and forced him to wear glasses. When he tried out for the Joliet Catholic High School basketball team, he made the team, but the coach then kicked him off for having to wear glasses while he played. Mikan then began commuting crosstown to Quigley Preparatory Seminary, which was on the north side of Chicago. This is when he considered becoming a priest. During his early years at Quigley, Mikan was 6'5", at only 14 years old. This is when the athletic director, Paul Mattei, from DePaul University saw him at Quigley and immediately offered him a scholarship to play for him. After Mikan received an offer to play in college, he was back on track playing basketball, and he had no idea what impact he would have to come on this sport. Mikan's career at DePaul had a rocky start, but Coach Ray Meyer worked and worked with him to perfect his skills, and each year, Mikan kept getting better and better. After his college career, he started attracting attention from the National Basketball League, also known as the NBL. Then, in 1946, the owner of the Chicago Gears of the NBL signed Mikan to a 5-year contract, where he played for the Minneapolis Lakers. After his time in the NBL, Mikan, however, due to so many injuries, decided to become the team's general manager for a while. During Mikan's career at DePaul, he had a rough start, but his coach helped him work through some kinks and perfected his skills. During his sophomore year, he became one of the leading point scorers for his team, and by his junior year, he led his team to an NIT championship. Throughout his time playing basketball at DePaul, he ended his career there with 1,870 points. After Mikan's college career had ended, he had attracted enough attention that he was noticed by the NBL. Maurice White, the owner of the Chicago Gears of the National Basketball Association, signed Mikan to a 5-year contract where he would make $60,000 a year, and he would get bonuses for any baskets scored. Although Mikan was very successful in his 7 years with the NBL, he decided, due to so many injuries, to retire as a player and become the team's general manager. While being the team's manager was alright for Mikan at the time, in 1967, He returned as commissioner of the American Basketball Association. Mikan's diabetes then caused him to need dialysis for 4.5 years before he ended up passing. Mikan, in 1967, returned to professional basketball as a commissioner of the American Basketball Association, and he served in the league for 2 years. He then began a battle with diabetes that would later come to end his life. After Mikan's run as a general manager came to an end, he then decided to join politics. He ran for Congress in Minneapolis and fell short of the votes. After this, he decided to go back to basketball. This is when he became the commissioner of the American Basketball Association. He did this for 2 years before retiring, and he remained in Minneapolis after his retirement. Due to some bad real estate and increasing medical costs from his diabetes, Mikan was forced to auction off his basketball awards and all of his trophies. His diabetes was so bad that it caused him to go on dialysis for almost 4.5 years. And due to his bad diabetes, he ended up losing many limbs, and this diabetes eventually killed him in the process. Throughout George Mikan's life, he worked very hard to become as successful as he was, and he played the sport he loved. He participated in the league for as long as he was able to before his diabetes took him. In Mikan's early years, he tried to join his high school's basketball team, but was cut by the coach due to his thick glasses. This caused him to transfer to Quigley Preparatory Cemetery, where he was recruited and offered a scholarship by DePaul's head coach. He had a great career at DePaul and an even more successful career in the NBL. After being with the Minneapolis Lakers team for 7 years, he became their general manager due to injuries, and shortly after, he became the commissioner of the American Basketball Association. After running with this association for 2 years, he retired from the association when his diabetes became too severe. He was on dialysis for over 4.5 years, and his diabetes eventually killed him. Although he is gone now, his name lives on, and he paved the way to modern basketball. Throughout Mikan's life, he steadily changed the sport of basketball and slowly began modernizing the way the game was played. And before searching for someone who shared my birthday and finding George Mikan, I had no interest in basketball whatsoever. Although, after researching Mikan and learning how he changed the game of basketball and the impact he had, and how he led to its modernization, my interest became piqued.